Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Claire Gorman, an intuitive healer, business energy alchemist, and an Akashic record master. And this space is for the visionary women who knew or know they're here for more. And today I'm going to pull back the veil, not just in the spiritual industry, but also in what I've been witnessing repeatedly in my classes, my masterminds, and my one-on-one containers. There's really been something rising very strongly in the collective field lately, and I truly believe it's time, or maybe it's time that I actually articulate it. It's something that I continue to observe repeatedly, regardless of how gifted someone is. And to be honest, the most intuitive, highly trained, and even multi-modality light workers are actually facing these challenges at the moment. And what they are is this deep disconnect from their own power. They feel like they're tiptoeing around their truth because they don't want to offend, outshine, or even get it wrong. And there's a real sense of being called to more, but spiritually second guessing every nudge. So those are the three things that I'm feeling into with the collective at the moment. And perhaps you can relate to this. But what I've noticed is this. So many of you, and I say this with love, we're still showing up at only 20% capacity. And I'm one of those as well. Perhaps you're doing the work, perhaps you are doing the inner work, but your soul is still waiting behind the scenes for more. And that is not because you don't know enough, and it's not because you're not ready, it's because somewhere along the line, we've been taught to dilute our frequency in order to survive. Perhaps we were taught to be polite instead of powerful, soften instead of speaking up, and hold space for everybody else to go first or have their turn, but never fully claiming our own. Does that resonate? It certainly does with me. And I'm going to be honest, it's starting to hurt, not just emotionally, but physically. Perhaps there's tension in your body. Perhaps there's confusion in what steps to take next. Perhaps you're even feeling burnout. And deep down, tune into your body for me, right? Right now, tune in. Is there resentment? Is there resentment deep in that sacral area? Oh, I want you to realize that it's not because you're broken, it's because you're spiritually constipated. And this was something that I was talking to my own high performance coach, my lovely friend Belle, and she just cracked up laughing when I said about spiritual constipation. And she said, Claire, you have to say this. And it's true, right? Tension, confusion, burnout, resentment, it leads to being spiritually constipated. And I'm going to share that even in my own body of work, I'm seeing the same energetic thread. There's a lot of us light workers that feel like we're just circling around our mission and nothing is landing. Perhaps, I'm in quite a few masterminds and containers myself, right? I love being in that sort of group energy, even though I love holding it as well. But I can feel a lot of us in the collective, we're here, we're on the edge and we're remembering, but things haven't quite clicked into who we really are and why we've come here and what we've come here to be. And that's why I wanted to record this episode of Confessions of a Light Worker, Conversations with Claire, because I truly don't believe we've come here just to float in the love and light brigade, right? And we haven't come here to just constantly healing or healing others. We've come here to lead. We've come here to rebuild. And we've also come here to rewrite the frequency of the earth. And one of the books that I talk a lot in my community and in my containers is one of the books that I absolutely love, that gives me the feels and the tingles all the time, is Diana Cooper's The Golden Future. Right. So if you've ever read that book, or if you're resonating with what I'm saying today, go and read that book, because it's you. It's you and what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So I want to talk about why it's so hard for many of us to finally start to move through this. And we're going to start with a few big truths. We are not here to be just intuitive. We're not just an empath. We are a living frequency that's here to shift. And here's the thing, right? Most of us, light workers, have no idea what kind of frequency we've come to anchor in, right? And when you don't know that, it's very easy to feel lost, even exhausted, or sometimes things don't ever quite land. We're not embodying things, or we're not embodying our lessons. That's why I started talking and teaching about in my Akashic Wisdom, my School of Mastery, is that there are 3 soul-coded waves of light workers that are here. Because when you understand a lot around your soul frequency, your blueprint, your soul of origin, whatever you want to align to, some spiritual teachers talk about their soul of origin. I like to say soul lineage, or your galactic soul lineage. What you understand with that frequency is that you stop trying to be someone you're not. And when I learn about my original heritage, I sat there and thought, oh, Claire, Claire. I gave myself a good talking to. I thought, why am I faffing about doing this when I should be doing that? And I literally started to make big changes, big changes quite quickly. And I started to feel my passion again. So when you know your frequency, then you can start to live your soul purpose, right? So there can sometimes be a real deep inner conflict between who we know we are at soul level and the parts of us still performing, pleasing, and playing small. And I've had a lot of women say to me recently, through sessions and masterminds and my containers, etc., and in my community, Claire, I really feel like I'm holding back who I really am. And I know I'm here to be powerful, but oh, I'm really afraid of being judged. And some of them are saying, I want to step up, but part of me is still waiting for permission. And I really resonate with that third statement. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I get it, because I've been there multiple times too, right? There was a moment about a year ago, probably, is it about a year? Yeah, it's about a year ago, that if you looked on paper, I had everything going on, right? I had a thriving business, clients booking in, people saying how much they loved and they resonated with my work, and they wanted to learn what I was doing in session so that they could do it for their clients in session. But, deep down on the inside, I felt like something was off. I felt like I was just performing spiritual success, but not really embodying my next level frequency. Um, I knew that something needed to change and something new needed to come in, or I needed to shift, but I felt spiritually constipated is probably the easiest way of saying it. But I was saying yes to all the things that made sense, but my soul was really screaming for something different, something bigger, something bolder, something truer, but it hadn't landed yet. And I really had to reassess and make space before anything started to come in or drop in or started to shift. And that's actually when I decided to really pull back and look at what I had created in my life and my business and what I still loved and what I still felt a slave to. And I started to clear a lot of the things out. And I knew that unless I made the clearings, the next level of frequency or the changes or the desires that I wanted to step into wasn't coming in. And recently, what I have decided to do, and only probably in the last week, 2 weeks, is that it's now time for me to not try to be professional and what I should show up like, but really start to own that I am here to be a bit rebellious. So I know a lot of you that will be listening to this know me quite personally. And I probably had a few truth bombs drop, um, also from my mentor and teacher as well. And I was like, no, I need to show up more in the way that if you knew me personally and professionally, there's probably a little bit of a misalignment there. So yeah, I'm starting to be bold. Okay. So if you also feel like you're circling around your own mission, or perhaps you're listening to this and there's part of you that's lost your own passion and purpose in life, or you've been second guessing perhaps your intuition, or maybe you're diluting your power, like I was, so that other people feel comfortable, right? A lot of us do dilute our own presence and power and purpose so that we don't outshine others. This conversation with Claire is for you. Because the truth is, and I say this with love again, right? Your soul didn't come here to be liked. Your soul came here to be the change maker and be the leader, right? And I want to talk about something that I share within my soul lineage work. And I'm going to talk now about the three different frequency waves of light workers who have incarnated here on the earth at this time to create that shift and change. So once again, if you are intrigued in what I'm talking about, go read the Diana Cooper, The Golden Future. So the three frequency waves of light workers, they are the indigo souls, the crystal souls, and the rainbow souls. And some of you might have heard of this, or you might be completely new to this conversation. But we're going to talk about the soul frequencies. The first one I'm going to talk about is the indigo souls. Now, the indigos, you came here to burn. Indigos are the truth disruptors. And perhaps as a child, you saw the holes in the system, and perhaps you even rebelled and questioned your teachers. You may have even triggered your parents, and you constantly asked why when no one else ever dared. You were told, perhaps you were told growing up that you're too much, Perhaps that you were told you were too angry or too rebellious. But the truth is, you weren't angry, you were just naturally activated. And the mission that you came, you Indigos, you came here to burn down the false timelines, to start to create change on the planet and the earth. And I see this a lot in my private sessions where women who have spent decades holding back their voice because they were punished for speaking their truth as children. And what this does is that in later life, we have real issues in speaking our truth, speaking boundaries, telling people what our needs and our desires are. And I'll give you an example. I had a client recently. She's a right powerhouse of a woman. She has a very successful spiritual business. And she's very good at giving to others, but not necessarily finds it easy in having her own needs met by voicing that. So she came along and we did a session on her, and where we were directed to go, because sometimes in sessions, what I find with clients is a lot of my clients are quite open. They're like, oh yeah, especially ones that are on retainers and work with me over a longer period of time. They're just like, yeah, whatever needs to shift to take me to that next level, let's do it. So she came in, we gave her a session. And we went in, we were working through the ancestral line. This is what I was told to work on. I mean, I do a lot of past life stuff, but this one was actually quite different. We were working through her ancestral line. And her ancestral heritage is in Germany. So we were working through this, and what we were working through was her visibility, but the visibility block was due to authority issues. And her ancestral line went back, and we were picking up, working through ancestors from World War II in Germany. So we cleared this authority wound, this karmic imprint, and did the healing, made the transformations, did all the magic that we needed to do. And no joke, within a few days, she was actually contacted out of the blue and asked to be a guest speaker on stage at a global event in the UK, right? So if you think her ancestors, Germany, authority, World War II, and then she was invited to speak in the UK. Okay, there's connection ties there. It's very world relations. You can do world relations healings. But when I had that conversation when she next came in for her session, and the penny dropped, and she was like, "Oh, really? So healing that has opened up the floodgates for that." And I said, "Absolutely." So Indigo souls, if this is resonating with you, I want you to remember, Indigos, you are not here to be difficult. You are dangerous to the system, but it's systems that are built on fear, because you are the fear disruptors. And that's exactly why you're needed at this time. Okay, next ones, let's talk crystal souls. Crystal souls, you came here to really hold the field. Your power is very subtle, but boy, it's unshakable. You are the emotional grid keepers. And your nervous system is naturally attuned to an entire room. So you're the type of soul that you can walk in and you can feel the energy of that room, perhaps even before you go in that room. Okay, you can be highly empathetic and highly sensitive. Okay, so you need to, make sure that you're putting in good spiritual hygienes to balance that out. And your superpower is that you can feel what others won't even admit. You have great psychic senses when it comes to people's emotions. Okay, it's like you can feel what other people are feeling before they even realize it. So really great superpower, but you do need to put the spiritual hygiene because you can absorb so much. So you're basically the ones who have been, you can also be the ones who have been carrying pain that actually isn't yours. So you need, if you're feeling overwhelmed or heavy with emotions, you need to check in that it isn't your stuff. Doing a healing on one of my medical intuitive clients, and she was a crystal soul. And oh my God, when I tuned into her, she was really struggling with ill health and nothing was shifting. So, I was like, right, okay, we need to go deeper with this. We need to go back to more soul lineage work. That's what I was guided to do. So when I tuned in, I was basically shown that she was here on the earth clearing karma and grief from her soul lineage. She agreed through a soul contract, to come down and clear all this amount of karma. And this karma, because grief is found in her lungs, and she had issues around breathing, and she was a healer and she was doing so much healing, but we needed to go deep, right? So this is what we did. And when we started to release it and cleared the contracts, etc., around it, afterwards she was like, and I'm not joking, like it did take a while for her lungs to come back, but basically that's one of her things that she needs to keep an eye on, that she is such a crystal soul that she really needs to be aware that she is not clearing other people's grief and karma through her own body, her own portal, right? Because the lungs are stored basically in the heart chakra. So, that was a really powerful healing and a clearing that we needed to do, but also she needed to be aware. So, crystal souls, remember your softness is your gift. Your presence alone actually recalibrates others. Now, this is something that's really important to understand, right? Sometimes we can feel that our presence isn't our power, but actually it is. So you can walk into a room, you can feel the energy, but you can also clear the energy of that room, all right? But don't take the energy on. So your presence, you have a mighty presence. So use that as your superpower. Remember, you're not here to scream, all right? So not like the Indigos, the rebellious lot that are here to be the rule breakers and the mavericks. You're not here to scream and shout. You're here to be present, allow your energy and your sacredness to recalibrate others, and you're here to anchor light where no one else can. So you can see that I'm starting to build a story here, and you might be resonating with all of these or just parts of these, okay? The next one I'm going to talk about is the rainbow souls. The rainbows actually started arriving in the 2000s. So if you're listening to this, your children or your grandchildren might be rainbow souls. So prick up your ears, you might find this interesting, because I do work with a lot of women whose children and grandchildren resonate a lot with the rainbow souls. And I actually help them to what's the word? I help them to hold space for this next generation. So rainbow souls, you're never going to fit in, but that's because you're not meant to, okay? And you're not here to tweak the system or break the system. All right, we've had that with the indigos, and then we've got all the beautiful energies and the recalibration of the crystals, and then the rainbows. You are not here to tweak the systems, you are here to create something entirely new. So if you have children or grandchildren that are rainbow souls, you need to read Diana Cooper, The Golden Future, all right? You are here, or you're here to carry the energy of pure source. You have a real high vibrational energy, and you are very spiritual, you're very super intuitive. You might look at your children or your grandchildren and think, God, they've been round the block or two, they just know this stuff. But you are here to be source light, and you are of pure source light. You are full of joy. You are highly creative. You're highly future visionary, super, super intelligent as well. But unfortunately, as these children grow up, so what we're in 2025 now, a lot of these children are like 25 now. You could have been shamed for that throughout your schooling, okay? You could have been told that you're unrealistic. And when you're told that sometimes you're unrealistic, what you can do is that you can actually use that as a bit of a I'll show you energy, and then you can come back with I'll prove it. So, you've got a lot of kids around age 25 and below that are, you know, they're making millions as entrepreneurs already. They've got a real frequency about them that are here to be, you know, game changers, complete game changers. But we need that. They're here to build new systems. So whether that is in schooling, in medicine, in politics, in government, or anything, right? But what we want to do with these rainbow souls is that they need encouragement, okay? So they could be told that they're unrealistic, and then they're going to prove it to us. They could be told growing up that they need to be more grounded. So, the daydreamers, be more focused. That's the worst thing that you can ever do to a rainbow soul, is to think of a square peg and put it in a round hole. It's not going to work, right? And they could be told that they are constantly living in a dream world. Yes, they are in a dream world, and we need those dreams to come through to make the changes. They have a fantastic presence about them as well, very similar to the crystal souls, because a lot of the crystal souls have actually born and brought through the rainbow souls. So the indigos, so I'm in my 50s, and obviously I've got children well, my daughter is nearly 19, my son is 21 and a half. So, I'm crystal, and then my parents would have been indigos. So we tend to bring through the next generations as well. So, what I love about helping my clients, my community, understand the different souls, as in indigo, crystal, and rainbow, is that once they understand what their blueprint is, they can start to make shifts and changes. So with rainbow souls, right, it's really important that they're not seen as naive. They're not seen as weird or woo-woo, all right, or eclectic. They just need to remember that they are able, okay, these rainbow kids, these rainbow souls, they know how to actually create heaven on earth, right? And we allow them the space, the creativity, and the confidence to do it, because they are the new age kids on the block. They are soft and sensitive, but that's not naive, weird, or woo-woo. Okay, it's a superpower, because their softness and their sensitivity is what we need to allow the codes to come in for what's next here on this planet. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I would love to know in the comments section on my YouTube channel, or if you're listening to this in my Facebook community, let me know how this has resonated with you. Have you enjoyed this Confessions of a Light Worker, Conversations with Claire. If you want to get in contact with me and understand more about your soul lineage, is that I actually have a soul lineage report. So if you want to receive your soul of lineage report, then I can do that for you. What we do is that we actually read your lineage through the Akashic records. And in your lineage report, you will receive your original galactic origin, the mission that you signed up for, the energetic patterns you're here to transmute, and the frequency you're coded in to embody. We will look at your gifts, your challenges, your karmic imprints. I also, I have a framework around it, but I also channel the information through that is also personal to you. I know a few people have asked me can we do the reports for children? Absolutely. If they're your children and you give me permission, I can absolutely do that. If you're interested in things like numerology, astrology, and you are into like human design, then a soul lineage report would really tick the boxes for you. You'd find that really, really interesting. So if you would like to have a Soul of Lineage report, then in the show notes, there will be a link so that you can go in and have a look at the information and purchase your report. So there we go. That's what I wanted to talk about this week. Let me know in the comments any thoughts, because I love getting back to you. So take care, lots of love and blessings.